Welcome to this video on the AQHA point system by Coco RL10. This represents the points chart for AQHA. There are some minor bobbles on the bottom, so I'll be updating a new point chart if I can find one to the blog. But it basically just tells you how many points per how many horses in the class. The reason it can get confusing is because there's a different number of designated points, and it changes for every class. So people cannot always remember how many horses were in it or how many points they were in it, and it's hard. But having one of these, having a point chart with you at a horse show is very helpful, so you can refer back to it if you know the number and your placing. A point chart is also very helpful because if you're about to point out of a level, you really need to know that, so if you don't want to, you can watch your points. So, the first number of horses you can get points for is 3, and you would get a half point for first place. For 10, I'm just going to skip the 5, so you can see that. 10 horses would get 2, and it goes up for every 5 horses, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, etc. And it also goes up in this column, and for every 5 more horses, a point goes in the column. See? Another half point goes in the column to the far right. All the way down to 10th place, which is down here, where the first place horse receives 9, and the last place horse receives half. And this should be 45 and more, not 40 and more. So now I'm going to give you examples of points on this page. There are 52 horses in my halter class. So as we saw before, the winner would get 9 points, and the 10th place horse would get a half point. And this again depends on how many. It's very hard to memorize all these again. It's really hard. There are 24 horses in my equitation class. Now this is a hard one to remember because you can't remember if this is the correct one or not. It's tricky. So like we talked about 24 horses, just go back to this slide and you'll see 24 is still under the 4 column. Right there. And if you got 5th in that class, you would still get points at 1/2. Now, 3 horses is pretty easy to remember because it's the lowest number of horses per class that I explained earlier that you can get points for, and 2 is just like a warm-up class. It does not really count for a lot. And now we're going to go to the next thing. In the rules. There's a lot to read here. I understand that. And I'm not going to read it all to you. I'm just going to point out some major sentences, and I plan to, on the blog, create a page about the rules that just highlights the important parts. So, 2-year-old and older is very important to remember, except halter and showmanship. Basically meaning no horse under 2 years old can compete in a riding class. And now all approved classes must meet entry requirements. That's pretty straightforward. Points will be awarded on the horses actually judged in the class. Doesn't matter if there's an elimination held or not, which is like cuts and the finals. They don't just count the finals horses, they count everybody who went. Yep, see, points will be based on 45 entries, even though entry fees may have been returned on horses which were worked and eliminated. Like if you go to the Congress, like I did, and you don't make the cut, you still have to pay. You don't get refunded because you didn't make the finals. No class less than 3 horses shall receive points, but all classes shall be judged. Pretty straightforward again. Amateur or youth classes will not be considered for any other AQHA designation, and this means that your amateur or youth points cannot go toward NSBA unless it is double pointed by the NSBA. Open points, however, can do that, like if you're on a futurity or something. And points in the amateur and youth divisions are, one horse, one amateur or youth basis, meaning that, that doesn't really make sense. Oh, it's just saying that if you don't own the horse anymore, your points will not be able to go on that horse's show record because you're not showing it. But if you're still showing that horse and earning points on it, your name will still be on there. But your names aren't going to disappear when the new owner buys it. They're just going to keep adding to the horse or exhibitor show record. And this is it again. It's very long. Oops. The grand champion of stuff. The grand champion in halter. We're talking about halter here. With 3 to 4 entries, will receive 1/2 point more than any other entry older than 1. This means that if you're a grand champion horse and you win, you should get something better, and it's true. And with 5 or more, you get 1 point more than any other horse, except the reserve champion. Yep. And grand champion appears on your pedigree record, and I'm going to explain this in my awards presentation. And this is the example they give. The grand champion stallion received 3 points for being first in the class, and the first place stallion in another class also received 3 points. The grand champion will be given 1 more point, so it will have a point more than any other horse in its class. And it has to have, they don't mention it, they have to have 1/2 point more than the reserve champion. And this is basically all about the halter. And yeah. Reserve champion received 1/2 point more than any other entry, C, and 1/2 less. Get it? And then that's just explaining that. So now here are my examples. There were 4 horses total. There were 4 horses total in halter mares this morning. I won grand. Do I get extra points because I won? Yes. Well, the answer could be yes or no. Because if you were the only one that won, say there was 2 in the other class, and you got the 1/2 point, under one, if you got, there's only one judge, and you got the 1/2 point, you would get bumped up, because you need to have 1 point more than any other horse, and even though they didn't receive any, wait, I'm sorry, let me back that up. There are 4 horses, so you will not get any extra points because you have a 1/2 point more than any other horse. But if there are 25 horses in the class, you would get more points. And let's look at this situation. I won grand. However, the reserve champion horse won the class with 20 horses, and I won the class with 5. Do I, or how many extra points should I get? So, as we remember, 20 points is 4 for winning, and 5 is 1. So in order to be a 1/2 point more than the reserve champion stallion, he would need to get bumped up 4.5 points. So he would then be at 4.5 instead of 1, because he's the grand champion, he needs to have more points than anybody else. And also, if another horse got second and he got 3 points, he would still have to be up to 4. He would also have to be up. Or if another horse besides the grand champion stallion won, which is possible, the grand champion stallion could have got second in the class. It doesn't happen very often though. And that horse got 4, and that horse got 1, and the grand champion stallion got 3. Oops. I'm going to separate that. He would have to have 5 because some other horse besides the Grand Champion Stallion got 4. And that's the end of this presentation. I hope it made sense. I'm going to try to add some more stuff to make it make sense. But thank you for watching.